like what is applied psychology and what actually about the psychological aspect is actually being incorporated for the show. And then how do you use that to consult?
Oh man, if I had gone for a doctorate, this would be my dissertation, because it applies at every single level of the experience that you want to look at. So if you want to look at the marketing, well, how do you present your show in a way that gets somebody interested enough to buy a ticket? Further, how do you get the right person interested enough to buy a ticket and make sure the wrong person does not buy a ticket, so that only the people in your audience are people who are going to love you? So you need to understand who that person is, what they like about your show, what they're going to like about your show, then putting that through in a way that vibes with them. So applied psychology to me is a nice way of saying hacking their mind, because there's an analogy and it breaks down if you look at it too closely, but it's useful to get the point across, which is there are a lot of different ways to use a computer, and most people are hunt and peck typers. Like the kind of older generation, they can type with one finger on each hand, one key at a time kind of a thing, right? And then it's like watching my mom go to the address bar to type in bing.com, hit enter, to then search Bing for Google, then click on that to then type into Google, how do I YouTube something, right? Like you go, what? Why are they doing it this way? Then you've got folks that are more familiar that are still blown away by, how do you know all those keyboard shortcuts? You're so fast. I don't even know what a keyboard shortcut is for a program that I use all day, every day. I still use my mouse to click around on things instead of using keyboard shortcuts. That saves me time and effort. And that's most people. So you could blow them away with just some quick keyboard shortcuts and they go, wow, you just totally made my life better. Okay. Or you could be a programmer who can access the command line, gain admin access to their computer, program a completely new application that can get things done faster than they ever dreamt was possible, had no clue that their computer could even do something like that. You're a freaking wizard. That's what applied psychology is for the human operating system, of understanding the fundamental ways that people use their senses and pre-awareness cognitive processes to make sense out of the world, so that their logic conscious mind has good, reliable information to work with. So a magician, a mentalist, knows what that process is from bottom to top and can design and engineer a program, a magic trick, a mentalist skit, or a demonstration, an experiment, whatever you want to call it. They can basically code that app where the output is amazement and awe. And the user has no clue how in the world this is possible. It's just, well, when you know how the code runs, you could just build a program to make it happen. So that's what a mentalist is doing, is defining, what do you want this program to do? Do I want them to think that I could read their mind? Do I want them to think that I can predict the future? Do I want them to think that I'm really good at influencing their decisions and I'm making them do things that they're not even aware that I'm making them do? Do I want them, right? So you first have to define what success is, then work your way backwards. Okay, what would be a fun or interesting, mysterious, amazing, scary, what vibe do I want to have with that outcome? Do I want them to be on their feet clapping? Do I want them to be crying? Do I want them to call their mom and be like, I love you so much, thank you for having, right? So then once you know the vibe you want, what kind of story or experience would communicate that in an experience, not just explicitly. But the explicit would be, I want you to feel amazed. I want you to feel sad. I want you to, okay. Or you could engage them in a story that helps them feel that way. Well, that's going to be a lot more successful. So then you go, okay, so that's the experience. Well, how in the world are we going to make that happen? Like, okay, now you're talking about method. Now you're talking about skills. Is it sleight of hand? Is it a gimmick? Is it like by what means are you going to make that happen? Well, now you're 4 steps in before you've ever even considered how it's going to work. If you go the opposite way, you say, well, we've got this thing that we can make something happen. So what can we make out of it? It's not going to be as compelling in terms of theater or experience or connecting with your audience. So going with method first isn't all that great. Outcome and then design your way backwards. So to put that in marketing terms, okay, what does a conversion mean for you? Is it an email sign up? Is it a paying customer? Is it a 30-day trial? What's your conversion? Because if you're running PPC ads, a conversion might be somebody clicking on your ad. Well, okay, if that's your definition of success, well, now we're running a PPC ad that says free iPad over here on this website. Now you're going to get 1 million people clicking on it, but their quality is bad. Oh, now you care about quality. Okay, so that click isn't your definition of success. Your definition of success is what? And they go, leads to the website. And you go, well, we're still there. They go, okay, well, we want qualified leads. You're like, okay, so now we're back to quality. Then once they're on their website, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to give you a phone call, an email, fill out this form, get a quote, sign up for your email? Well, I want all 5 of them. Like, okay, so you mean you're going to give your visitor 5 options and hope they get the one you want the most. So you now have a 20% chance of success. Whereas if you architected this whole experience, then made your conversion be the only thing that they could do, then you're much more likely to get that conversion because they don't have the other 4 to choose from, because, they're going to take an option you give them. So when you try to help them by adding more options, you're actually minimizing the likelihood of your successful effect. So when your marketing is not effective, it's because you haven't defined what outcome you want, or your experience to lead to that outcome is janky, or the methods you're using are not employed properly. You don't have the skills, you don't have the timing right. Maybe your script is wrong, your copy is bad. You've got 5 spelling mistakes and people think you're a scam. So there are all sorts of places where you are bleeding out your conversions because you haven't architected the full experience properly yet.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, so a lot of things there that I was seeing. One thing while you were explaining, it reminds me that in a lot of different ways, a lot of different industries, people are doing similar things, right? Like a musician, musician, there are, depending on the genre of music, they're trying to set a certain mood, right? Maybe this song, they want people to feel the deep story that they're implementing, or this particular song is maybe for concert ready, where everybody's going to be cheering, standing on their seat. So you're very cognizant about human behavior and how you can apply it in a particular setting. And your setting tends to be the setting where you may use a little bit maybe of confusion or awe or wow, and the goal is, if you did a good job, to where people leave out of the theater thinking like, well, how did he do that? And, maybe that might make them come back for more. And then the way you could apply that in business, it appears that getting companies to understand what is the end goal. And by viewing and understanding your end goal, you can figure out the steps to get a person to each level in order to reach the finish line of what you're trying to achieve. But you have to know what you want.
Exactly.
Do you want people to purchase something, or you just want them to view your website? Do you want them to be a subscriber because you have videos? So very, very, very interesting.